Hello, my name is Andrew, and my memorial speech is about 9/11. When I read the topic of the speech, my first thought of doing a memorial speech would be about the tragedy of 9/11 and how the impact affects us every day. 9/11 was one of the biggest national tragedies in America and it made a huge change around us today, and that still affects us. I see in my life people affected by this and how society has changed for the better in America. I realize that many heroes have risked their lives at this tragedy and had tremendous courage from their actions. What really stands out is the bravery of the people on the plane that was going to crash in the Pentagon, but they took the matter in their own hands instead. I was not old enough to remember this event occurring, but I was alive and I was told how the people reacted around me. My mom was with me, and my sister was sleeping, my dad was at work, and I was with my grandma watching the news when the horrible event occurred. My mom walked in with me because my grandma called her over. They thought the first plane was hitting the tower was some sort of strange accident, but knew something was wrong after the second plane hit. Everyone who was paying attention was dumbfounded by what was going on. When my mom heard about the third plane that crashed into the field, my mom felt sad for those who lost their lives against the fight against the terrorists, but was very impressed how they took their matter into their own hands and solved that problem. All my family was scared for the other families that we were working in the city at the time. My father was working at Boston at the time, so my mom called him to check to see if he was okay. That was after she found out that terrorists came from the Boston airport. My mom felt guilty as a nurse that she could not go to New York and help the people that were dying and the people who were in need, so she felt guilty that she could not help the people in need. She also felt angry that the terrorists were killing innocent people for doing nothing wrong and felt like the military needed some actions to resolve this problem. In the New York, policemen, firefighters, and EMT showed up at the scene as soon as the first plane tower hit. But after the second plane hit, it made the tower collapse on itself, causing a huge cloud of dust and smoke surrounding the area in the city. That made the working conditions a lot tougher and the air completely toxic to inhale on the ground. That only slowed the people on the scene, but kept working through the abysmal conditions. When the tower was falling apart, the bystanders were saying how it was a hellish fire of Satan and was a terrifying sight to see. The dust was like a sandstorm when they fell in ground zero. After that, it took 9 months to recover all of the damage and cleaning from this tragic event. There was 1.8 million tons of wreckage, but in case of such an event, it was reported that both the police and fire department had some sort of plan with the building catastrophe and how they handled the situation. The most tragic and dreary part of the event was the amount of people who lost their lives in this fatal attack. 9/11 resulted in the largest loss of a foreign attack on American territory, with a death toll of 2,977 people, both public servants and citizens working in the building, and over 6,000 people were injured in the result of this attack. There were 20 lucky survivors that were pulled out of the rubble, and the last person was reportedly pulled out 27 hours later after the tower collapsed. Overall, this impacted America greatly, and I think both good and bad. That the American people were sad about all the losses that happened, but the only right thing to do is to move on. The security airports and other uses of travel have increased tremendously ever since the stop from the devastation like that from the future.